Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for joining me once again for another Magic the Gathering video. And kind of similarly to our last ones here, this is going to be a Secret Lair showcase type of deal. I mean, there's other things that you could potentially call it there, but that is just what I'm going to call it today. Now, we've gone through all of the recent, what would you call them? There's like super drops type of deal. And there is one coming up as well. But in the meantime, there have been a couple of just weird little one-offs that have come through, and I kind of want to go over those. Specifically, a lot of these come from what they have called the Chaos Vault, and I just wanted to go through some of those that have come through. Now, to start them off, I wanted to probably pick up the one that I was kind of the least excited for. And as you can see, there's some weird packaging here. What's the deal with that? Well, specifically, this is Strange Sands. And, it came out and it was saying, hey, this is, we're going to give you 10 lands that all look the same. And that was it. And for me, with this particular product of Secret Lair and all of that, I don't really care too much about getting multiple copies of the same thing unless it's a foil and non-foil version. So in this particular case, these didn't appeal to me whatsoever. It just came through as a, hey, here's 10 lands that you could do it. Now, I understand some people might enjoy getting 10 of the same lands to be able to retro fix their deck to be able to have all of the same things. That's not for me, though. I like to get the nice artwork cards. So collecting the different varieties is more of my thing. So what I ended up doing is in here, I got a singleton version of the Swamps, which was one of my preferred ones that I liked there. And mostly I just wanted to see if there was an extra card that came through, like Evolving Wilds or something like that, or if it's just literally the 10 lands. And then in these two, I ended up going through a third party to just get one of each of the type of lands there in foil and non-foil, just so that I could get a little bit of a taste of all of that there. So that is what those ones are. We are going to quickly pop in here to see if there are indeed anything beyond what we have for the lands. I am not expecting there to be, but I wanted to do it just in case that was the case. So, we've got our Swamps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it looks like we did have a little bit of extra in there. It comes with one of these elf, creatures that got put into them at random there. So I guess that is what ends up coming through for it there. We get a little bit of the extra card there. Oops. And, it was just the 10 lands and the extra elf card there. In looking at this, I am glad that I did not get more, just because to me, this doesn't seem something that is of my interest there. However, getting one of each of them is. Now, this reminds me a little bit of when they were doing all of the different zodiac symbols there as lands. And that one was of more interest there for me. So, but that was mostly because you could get smaller, what would you call it there? You didn't have to get quite as many. So, just gonna pull these out. Alrighty, get those. And we're gonna get those. Okay. So it looks like they've already pre-sleeved them there for us to protect them for us. But first up, we've got our plains here, looking a little bit like we're out in the desert somewhere. Got a lot of tumbleweeds, so gives a little bit of that Outlaws of Thunder Junction vibe if they're trying to go in-universe, which I know that they aren't. But I do like how they ended up doing the little tumbleweeds as well as the little flower there on top of the cactus, just kind of being that little ball, and then, it going off into the sunset seems fine to me. And for our islands there, it actually took me a while to understand what I was looking at there. So again, giving a lot of that deserty vibe, but because it is closer to the water, it does have these little trees to showcase it. And what I didn't understand is that it's an island because here's like a little river that's going through, and then here's the island in the center of all of it there. Surprisingly, it took me quite a bit of time to really understand that that was the case for what it was going to be, but that is what it is. And we're going to the swamp there of the one that we did have. So because it is the dark mana base, I guess you could call it that, it's the only one that's got that little moon out there, which I wish that at least one of the other ones had that there. But it looks like we've got like a little bog, little dark spot in the center there that's giving off some vapors there, kind of giving a little bit of maybe vaporwave style of it. But I like the purples in this one here, which is why it was the one that I ended up choosing to get the 10 of there, just to kind of experiment and see. And then we've got our mountain here, bringing back some of the tumbleweeds that we had before. So I dig that. And then we've got kind of this plateau mesa type of area there that almost looks like it has lots of different types of metal or wrapping paper put around it there to kind of give it that sense. And the shape of it almost also looks like a nuclear reactor a little bit there. So that's a little bit interesting on that one. And then lastly up, we're going to get our forest. We're leaving a little bit of the tumbleweeds behind in the background there. Oh, this one does have kind of more of the moonish there. I mean, I guess you could still see it as the sun, but to me, it looks more moon because it doesn't have quite the reds that the other ones did. But we are getting into more of the forest there. It looks like maybe the tree trunks have gotten cut down, and we're seeing a weird perspective of where the top is actually facing towards us there. But overall, not that bad either. This was probably my second favorite one. The other one that I would have looked at of potentially getting the one set for. But overall, I don't mind the art. It's just having so many of the same ones was just not what I had in mind. So I did it for one of them just to see what was in it there. And I'm glad that I just stayed at the one. But we're going to move on to kind of my least favorite drop, onto something that I've been waiting for a while. And that is going to be our Extra Life. Back from this previous year, it had finally gotten sent out for us, and this was one that I was very happy to be part of there. We got a little special Secret Lair notice on that one there because of it being the pixels, but mostly because we're helping out the charity there. I think it's really good that they're thanking us on those ones specifically. But the pixel perfect, not pixel perfect, the Extra Life ones are the sets that I'm really, really excited to kind of support, because not only is there usually some sort of good card amongst the things that they do. For example, last year when they had the Sheldon Remembrance cards for the Extra Life campaign of 2023, they had what was that one called? Teferi's Protection in it. And it's just like, oh, Teferi's Protection, that's a great one here. And then there was really good ones in this one. And it just seems like a continuous one where generally there's something really good within these there. But for the most part, I like to be able to get them because they help out charities. And I did get an additional foil version from myself just to be able to support a little bit more because it is going towards a good destination. So first up, we've got our little mana geyser starting off in almost like a Super Mario Brothers-esque place with Fibblethip jumping over some fire geysers as it, instead of the mana geysers in like Nicol Bolas Palace there. Got a Johnny acting almost like I didn't play the original Metal Gear Solids, but it's popping up just like that. So we've got our little mana geyser, 3 and 2 red for a sorcery with add a red for each tapped land your opponents control, and you get a whole lot of mana for that one there. So always a good card on that one. Getting our good old classic after we've taken a little bit of damage from the either from the mana geyser or from the lightning bolt itself, although as we'll probably see after this one here, maybe it's not the lightning bolt that's dealing damage to us. But we've passed the gateway there, and Fibblethip is fighting off against Nicol Bolas himself there, the king, the tyrant. So many of his symbols there, just like we would see in Amonkhet. We've got a Johnny telling us lightning bolt costs 1 red to deal 3 damage to any target. It's an instant there. We're good old on into that. And then the big main card of the set here is going to be our Fierce Guardianship, the Commander 2020 absolute bomb that people are probably really glad of getting another reprint for, just because getting more into the market there will help it out there. 2 and a blue for an instant with if you can control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. You then counter target non-creature spell. It absolutely devastates those type of strategies that are trying to go out there and cast some sort of non-creature spell as their finisher. It's not happening, and oftentimes you have your commander out on the field, so you know what? It's most of the time free, and that's why it's so powerful. Next up there, coming back from our D&D sets, we got Delayed Blast Fireball, Fibblethip, reflecting off that lightning bolt to then destroy Nicol Bolas himself. It's an instant that is 1 and 2 red mana for dealing 2 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. However, if this card was cast from exile, it deals 5 damage to each opponent and each creature they control instead. Meaning that you play it face down for, I think it's either 2 or 3, because I never did call time. I think it is 3 for the foretell cost there, 3 colorless, and then you play it for its foretell cost later on for whichever speed it is. In this case, it's instant speed, so you can do it there. 5 damage to everything, 5 damage to each player, unless they're really trying to ramp up their own creatures, is going to be close to a board wipe, unless they've got also big stompy boys. So all in all, another good one there as well. And a little extra card there. We've got Fibblethip winning through, getting the extra life. I like how there's some extra foiling on the Planeswalker symbol, as well as the little points on the firework there, because it gives it a little bit more life to it there. But last one there is going to be Solve the Equation, 2 and a blue for a sorcery with Search Your Library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So you can do that to either get your own win con, or you could get it for something like Fierce Guardianship to be able to protect yourself. The big thing to see is that this entire extra life set is based off of instant and sorcery cards there. So this one goes very well with all of those, because it specifically can search for any of them here in this set. So really good little tutor there, nice little tutor there. It's probably not going to be the most powerful one. However, all in all, it's a decent more budget tutor if you wanted to get it there. But We are going to put those off to the side there, and we're going to go into next, probably one of the more controversial ones recently that have come through. Specifically, it's going to be Adventures of the Little Witch. Now, for those of you that don't know, that don't really follow the Secret Lair, the big thing that is controversial about it is, for a long time, the non-foil copies of the Secret Lairs have been $29.99, pretty much $30, and the foils have been $39.99 or $40 about. This time around, they have upped the price of the foil edition to $59.99 or $60, twice the amount that the non-foil version is going for, and $20 more than what the original foiling has gone. And I understand this is them as in Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, anybody, trying to determine, hey, are we going to be able to sell the product for a larger amount, and are people going to get it? And as of this moment, the verdict seems to be no. And the way that we can really see that is there wasn't a whole lot of value in the specific cards that came out with these, and while this portion of it, the non-foiling, is now in low stock, the foil version, which almost always sells out before the non-foil version, still has a lot of stock left in it there. It doesn't show low stock there. It could potentially be that maybe they put extra in, printed extra foiling versions in, so that people might be able to get it later on, and it's not showing. My guess, though, is that they have made similar amounts to how they have before with these Chaos Vaults one, and it's just not selling well because people don't want to pay the extra money for it. So I have decided to open them up so that we'll be able to see if everything is as it's worth it to be or not. As it's going to be part of my collection there, it was something that I was going to be willing to do for us, though in my honest opinion, I don't think that it's going to necessarily be worth the price that it has, but we'll be able to tell that right here. Alrighty. So we're going to start off with a little Secret Rendezvous coming from our good old Strixhaven set there. This is like little Adventures of Little Witches or something like that there. And probably going to see plenty of witch cards on there. So it makes sense that they have Strixhaven cards coming in here. So Secret Rendezvous is going to be 1 and 2 white for sorcery with you and target opponent each draw 3 cards. And you can do this to try to help the person that is in farthest and last place, to try to help them come back. You could use it as a political tool there of trying to get someone on your side. You could be having this in something like your, your group hug deck to try to get one person going a bit more there. Or you could have some sort of card that says your opponents can't draw more than the card on their draw step, and you get to draw the 3 cards for 3 mana, and they don't. Either way, there are many different uses for this card. It does see some play there for various different reasons there, but as an uncommon, it is not something that is particularly sought after there or has a ton of value there. Next up, we're going to get Serenity, the little witch with her 2 little cat familiars, being able to bask in the sunshine there. Again, with the foiling, some of this stuff does have the backgrounds a little bit more prominent there rather than the solid kind of blackish gray that they've got there. But all of the cards, I will admit, are very cute. The art style is really great, and I think that the artist did a good job. It's just, like I said, I don't think that necessarily what Wizards is selling them for is worthwhile. But Serenity, 1 and a white for an enchantment with at the beginning of your upkeep, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. They can't be regenerated, which will involve Serenity itself. So you want to use this as more of a hate on enchantments, hate on artifacts there, especially if you don't have them in your own deck. Or if you want to try to bring them all back somehow, this is a way to get rid of everything on the field and then be able to get rid of your opponents as well. Next up, we're going to get Essica's Chariot, a card that we actually knew we were going to be getting fairly soon, mostly because someone accidentally got it in one of their Secret Lair drops from the like bosses away type of deal. And we've got the little cats there to be able to carry the carriage, and they're looking at these flying fish there. And honestly, again, just very adorable artwork. Eshka's Chariot, 3 and a green for a 4/4 legendary artifact vehicle. When it enters, you create 2/2/2 green cat creature tokens, which in and of themselves can crew it, which makes a lot of sense. And whenever Eshka's Chariot attacks, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. So you can do it for the cats to be able to get them, or more likely you're putting this in a deck that has a lot of tokens in it, maybe some very large tokens. So you'll be able to get some of those larger tokens out as well to be able to swing in. Additionally, if you have anything that creates a token copy of a big creature that you have, you're able to copy those clone or copy tokens as well. So not a bad card coming straight from the Kaldheim there, but the one that is really the main value for the pack here, Realms Uncharted, something that I don't believe has been seen in the pack since the original Zendikar block. 2 and a green for an instant with search your library for up to 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of them. You put the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest go into your hand, and then you shuffle your deck. So this is very much similar to the painful choice that came out in Yu-Gi-Oh! In original days. No matter what they pick and they're putting into your graveyard, it doesn't matter. You're getting something that you want anyway, and oftentimes you'll probably have something that will be able to get those lands for you anyway if you really need them. There's so many cards that are able to bring stuff out of your graveyard into your hand or onto the battlefield itself. You get Crucible of Worlds and just play them from your graveyard. So honestly, it doesn't matter what they put into your hand and what they put into your graveyard. It's coming out anyway. So it looks like she's going off and exploring, having one of those little fish dragonfly type of deals there going by her, making it all really mystical. Not my favorite artwork of this one, but that's just because all of the other ones just are so much more cute and whatnot there. But I do appreciate the little fall leaves that they have. And it looks like we've got a little bit of extra cards in here as well, since there were only 4 revealed. So we're probably going to get some zombies here. So we are going to get a Corpse Connoisseur, something that we've already been getting quite a bit there. And we're also going to be getting a Ravenous Rotbelly, something that we haven't gotten yet here. 4 and a black for a zombie horror 4/5 with when this creature enters, you may sacrifice up to 3 zombies. When you sacrifice 1 or more zombies this way, each opponent sacrifices that many creatures they're their choice. I really dig that one there. That seems really nice. I would like to be able to put that in a deck that definitely has especially some zombie creature tokens there. That would be really nice. Well, we'll be able to see, or you'll be able to see, since I'm going to do all of the editing afterwards to see if these ended up being worthwhile. I'll have something along the similar lines there for the lands. I'm going to do some sort of calculation for them, but we'll be able to see in the corner over here whether or not, especially this one, was worthwhile. My guess is no, but you'll be the ones to be able to see that. So going on from one of the more controversial sets that have come out recently, one that I'm a little bit intrigued about there because it was just food tokens. oishi, or delicious, food tokens there, all in Japanese sushi style there. I thought that they were really interesting there. Now, the only problem that I do have with them there is prior to recording, I wanted to see maybe what they might be available for, and I can tell you at the time that I looked, and most likely by the time that I'm going to be doing this editing, I didn't see a price for them. So maybe I'll try to find up a way to see if these might be worthwhile, but we'll find some way to do it. Overall, it's an interesting little product there. I'm wondering if they might be trying to see if this is a worthwhile means in which to do maybe other tokens there. I know that there are some Magic the Gathering channels there, much more prominent than whatever I do here, that have their own tokens there, and maybe they saw some popularity for that and wanted to replicate it. So starting up here with our first food token, it looks like we have a prominent rice ball as well as a sausage that is in the shape of a taco or a octopus there, as well as it looks like maybe some like a hard-boiled egg that the outside has been cut up so that you're able to see the little chicken side. And I'm not entirely sure what these are. It looks like maybe it's a little pork belly wrapped around something in the center there. I don't think it would be wasabi. It might be, but it seems like a lot to be wasabi there. Oh, and I see that they've also kind of made the guy look like he has some travel gear on, and we've got a little bit of ocha, or green tea, to go along with it. Overall, you know, it's a cute little set. Looks like it's got little comics in the background of this main character rice ball going around and going on adventures. So next up there, oh, I forgot that they weren't going to be all in the Japanese style. So it looks like we've got a little bit of American style here as well, getting up. A gorgeous looking burger here with an absolutely massive slab of bacon going on it as well. You know, you just want to bite right into that one there, because they always make food look so much better in art forms than it does in real life. Sure, you can get some good stuff in real life, but have you ever looked at anime food and been like, yeah, that doesn't look miles better than what anything actually comes out to be? You know, it's just so hard to do that. And it looks like we've just got some like advertisements in the background there of trying to get the burgers as well as the fries, or for those in the UK, chips. So that's a nice little one there. Oh, and it looks like we're going back to a little bit of Japanese style there. We've got some nigiri, the sushi that has a little bit of fish on the top and then has the rice underneath it there. Looks like we've got a little bit of tuna as well as some roe on the cucumbers there. It looks like we've got some egg sushi there. The rolls are maki. These ones here with a little slab of fish on the top of them there, or the egg in that case, are nigiri. We've got a little bit of tuna there. Looks like we've got some octopus there. I'm not too certain of what is the third one here. It looks like potentially maybe it looks like another type of fish, maybe some salmon based off of the coloring of it. And it looks like last we have some shrimp at the very end there, and looks like we've got a little sushi bar for the proprietor to cut some stuff up there, and we've got a little dipping into the soy sauce on the bottom there. Honestly, nice little artwork there. And for our last one of these, it looks like we have a little bit of a sweets cafe, a pudding a la mode for it there, that has just a bunch of sweets and I think that might be a cream soda there, with making a little bit of a float for it there. You've got the little moving back and forth as it does, that sort of flan style there, and the way that they cut up their apples there. This one looking like it's a little rabbit there to kind of give it the ears, and we've got various different creams and melon wafers and maybe banana and strawberry. They're all in all just looking really nice there. Probably going to either a cafe or a nice little family restaurant there. And just like the other one, it looks like we've got some an extra card put in here. So maybe we're going to get some extra corpse connoisseurs because we keep on getting those. But in this one, we're going to get a crypt breaker there. Okay, I think we had gotten this one before. There, a 1 black, 1/1 zombie with 1 and a black. Tap, discard a card, create a zombie creature token, and you can tap 3 untap zombies you control to draw a card and lose a life there. So I guess draw a card, lose a life, and then you play your Ravenous Rotbelly to sacrifice those tokens there. I think it's also kind of odd that they have all of these zombies in with a lot of these cute artworks there, but maybe they're just trying to go for something that has a lot of contrast to make them stand out more. And are we going to get another Corpse Connoisseur? Nope, we're going to get double Crypt Breakers, it seems. But yeah, these tokens are really cute. I will be trying to get things set up where I'll be able to take certain tokens along with me to be able to use in any games there as like a little deck pouch themselves, and I'll be happy to be able to use up these. And now that we've kind of gone through some of the things that have happened in the, well, I guess this is the most recent of them that I'm going to be opening up. But these other ones, you know, have a little bit more of a time passed on them there. We're going to be opening up some of the more recent ones that had a lot more hype behind them. Because as I said, I did not care for these. These are still available. I think that the price change is not going to be a good look for them, and those are still available. These did sell out quickly, but they were also a lot cheaper because they were tokens in and of themselves, and it took a while because for these extra lives because they were print to order, which is not the way that Secret Lair is currently being handled. So while these were bought back in November, it is only now, as in recently, that they were available. So we're going to be going in and off of the April Fools of this year, which is not going to be left-handed cards or Sans, Comic Sans scripted cards that did have Tormented of Hailfire, so that was a pretty good one as well. We are getting the Deadpool finally showing up here in the card game after all of the other Marvel characters made their own show. So why not let him show off and tell us what he is all about, because I know that he is something of an interesting card, if you want to put it that way. Alrighty. Let's get you here, Deadpool. Alrighty. So we got Deadpool here. Or Deadpool trading card. You know, definitely going into a bit of his self-referencing route, a little bit of his fourth wall breaking. He knows that he's a trading card, and it's just how it is. 2, a black, and a red for a legendary mutant mercenary hero that is a 5/3 with, as Deadpool enters, you may exchange his text box and another creature's. So on your opponent's commander there, or one of their best creatures that has an activated ability or a static ability there on that creature, you're going to be able to take that. And what you're going to exchange instead is, at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 3 life, and you pay 3, and you sacrifice this creature, and every other player draws a card. So what you're doing is you're putting them out there, stealing the best text box out there, and now your opponent's creature is actively hurting them, and the only way that they can get rid of it, unless they've got like a sack outlet or something, or try to kill it in some way, is they're going to pay extra mana to go in to get rid of it, which will then give every other player cards, which will probably hurt quite a bit. So it is one that I am looking forward to trying to build some decks around, because I know that there are probably tons and tons of different interactions that people have seen that these are going to be good for. However, one of my favorite things about this card in and of itself is that it is continuously going for that self-reference route. Not only is it looking directly at the player, but the way that it's interacting, it is literally pulling out its katana and ripping open the text box itself to, in and of itself, not only say like, hey, I'm interacting with the card, kind of like an Unfinity card almost, but the way that it's going, it's using that to tear off its text box to slap it onto something else. And I think that that's just an amazing, like, artistic way to go through with it there. So I think that it's a very, very good way to do it. Next up there, we're also going to have Deadly Rollick, going in with a little bit of that Fierce Guardianship that we had before. Going to have a 3 and a black for an instant with, if you can control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost, and you exile target creature. And you've got Deadpool off on his unicorn with sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies, and Cable is just looking at him like, I have no idea what you're doing. But again, another 2020 free spell that was very popular there. As we've opened up previously here, we had Deflecting SWAT in one of our previous openings there. And in the original Marvel crossover that we had for Secret Lair, we had in the Captain America version the Flawless Maneuver. So as of this moment, the only one of these free 2020 Commander cards that have not yet been printed is, I think, one of the more the less powerful. That's what, one of the less powerful versions of it, the Obscuring Haze, which I believe is just basically like a free fog, if I'm remembering it correctly. But getting another one of these is great, because it's exiling target creature and not destroying it. If something is indestructible, it goes around it there. You know, the only thing that you have to worry about is like Shroud, Hexproof, Ward type of deal. You know, if it has Ward, it's no longer free, but, you know, you're still probably paying cheaper than 4. So that's good. And speaking of the unsets like Unfinity, we're coming back to Saw It in Half. Good old 2 and a black for an instant with Destroy Target Creature. If that creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their power is half that creature's power and their toughness is half that creature's toughness. You round up each time. And don't try this at home, kids. Magic is super dangerous. You know, he's acting like a magician there. And again, the card is, I like how the artwork is interacting with everything there. It's got the saw blade going through the text box itself there. And it's kind of one of those things there of what would happen with Deadpool, because Deadpool always regenerates from his largest body part, I think. So it's like, if you split him like perfectly evenly, like which half will grow, or do you get 2 Deadpools? And I guess in this case, you kind of get 2 Deadpools there. So another really fun card, probably aside from the lands, one of the most desirable cards from the Unfinity set there, which was one that I had a blast doing. And I guess speaking of blast, we're going to get Blasphemous Act. 8 and a red for a sorcery with the spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield, and Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. And let's be real, most of the time you're paying this just for a red. Like, you're probably never going to find that anywhere else. And you've got here Deadpool chilling out on the moon because he can't die out there. And he's somehow stolen the Infinity Gauntlet, gotten all of the Infinity Stones, and he's just like, yeah, I'm going to blow up the Earth and watch it eating my chimichanga there, just so that he can have a dinner and a show, and just pretty much use the time stone to reverse everything afterwards and be like, ah, yes, that was great. Oh, I reversed time? Well, I guess that chimichanga's back, so I guess I get to eat it again. And he gets to do it over and over, chilling out next to his little moon buggy there. Really nice. And then we're also going to get Vandal Blast, 1 red for a sorcery with destroy target artifact you don't control, and you can overload it for 4 and a red. Overload being you change the word target in the card to each, so it becomes destroy each artifact you don't control. And I really, really like the flavor text on this one of, look at me, I'm a Chandra Nalar, because he's going to be able to break all of that there, and he's burning stuff up. And what do you know? What artifact is he burning? He's burning that Black Lotus there, because he doesn't care how expensive things are. The guy in the background knows it there, but he's just having a good time. And, it takes up a bunch of the card frame there. The text has to go around things so that the artwork is present in the front there. Again, I really like when the cards interact with the card border there, or the cards itself there, and being such a self-referential character, it makes sense. And of course, we've got some extra cards that go along with it there in this one here, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be the same, is going to be our harmless little offering there with Jeff the Shark and Gwenpool instead of Deadpool himself, getting a little bit of the Marvel Rivals action there, trying to bring a little bit more popularity to Jeff. 2 and a red for a sorcery with target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. And the biting means that he likes you, You give them something detrimental there. Oftentimes this is paired up with one of my favorite cards, Demonic Pact, or just something that says, hey, when this leaves, or, something along those lines, you lose the game. And, I think that that's just it's a really funny card to be able to just be like, yeah, that's just how it's going to be. And for our other one there, we're probably going to get, same little harmless little offering there. I know that there's a Blacker Lotus from the onset, which, again, I think is an absolutely perfect one to have in it there, because it is an uncard, just like Saw in Half is. But to be able to have it as, like, not only that the Vandal Blast is destroying the original Black Lotus, I think that it's a perfect reference in and of itself to the set that it's coming out in of itself. So overall, I thought that it was a great set. It had really good cards in it there that I do use, and having Deadpool as just an additional card of one that is very interesting and interactive, I'm looking forward to using it. And next up, we have the little competition there. So we're going to be starting off with second place and leaving the best for last, because these are the last 2 that I have. And I'm talking about the competition between your 2 favorite animals, cats and dogs. And in this particular one, dogs are better than cats. Well, we now know that that one is a lie, because the cats ended up selling out first when this Secret Lair dropped. So not to knock man's best friend there, but even if they might be the best friend, I think people have spoken of which one that they prefer. Though I do think that this one does have better artworks on a couple of the cards there, though there is one in particular that is my favorite there. But let's get right on into them there. Who knows, maybe there's going to be some zombies in these as well. I don't think that we're going to come across any like zombie cats or zombie dogs there, but you never know what we could find in these. Alrighty, first up. And all of these are going to have the same exact cards there between these ones and then the cats ones. They're just going to have different artworks. Starting off, we're going to have Escape to the Wilds, 3, a red and a green for a sorcery with exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your turn, and you can play an additional land this turn. You've just got the dog running away from the house, stomping through all of the mud there because they don't want to take a bath. They're going to become a wild dog. Not to be mistaken with the song there, because slightly different lyrics there. But yeah, you got a cute little boy going out and deciding that they want to have an adventure. They'll probably come back at some point at the end of the story that they have, but that's what it's going to be. Next up, we're going to have Rip Apart, red and a white for a sorcery with a modal choice of choose one of either dealing 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or destroying a target artifact or enchantment there. Finding your favorite pillow there and just deciding that you've got to find the hidden prize inside there, so you got to tear it all up there. So trying to look all innocent, like, didn't I do a good job there? I don't know how he got all of those paw prints on the sides of the windows there. Like he's crawling up there. I don't know. He's trying to be cute, but it can't be having them rip up all of our sofas there. Next up, we're going to get Titanic Ultimatum there. 2 red, 3 green, and 2 white for a sorcery with until the end of turn. Creatures you control get +5/+5, gain first strike, trample, and lifelink there. Making the big stompy there, trying to swing in and win the game there. You try to get something like Grand Abolisher out there, or something that prevents people from playing spells on or abilities on your turn, to try to make sure that the only way they can interact is by blocking there. So they're really going through, knocking down everything in the middle of their way to try to get to food there. And having just recently visited a friend who recently got a Chihuahua there, it really reminds me of them there on the left there, with that, the way that their tongue is, the way that their eyes are, and just how happy and energetic they are. So, it's a fun little card there. And coming up for my favorite artwork that we have in the set here is going to be our Arcane Signet. Our good old 2-mana artifact that taps to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity there. I really like the pinks. As I've said before, I like my flowers, and I really like these husky and Shiba Inu looking dogs. And who can say no to a dog that is smiling like that there? And I think that the flavor text on this is absolutely spot on. It's an official seal authenticating her identity as a very good girl. She is a very good girl. Look at her. She's so happy. She's just wants to be there for you. She wants pets, cuddles, go out for walks, and just spend some time with you there. She definitely looks like a dog that really loves you a lot. And coming up there, one of the more interesting cards in it there, the Basilisk Collar. 1 mana for an artifact equipment with the equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink, and it equips for 2. Just dressing up the dog like you like someone would there. I don't really understand all of the plates and or I guess saucers and teacups that are in the background there, but you've got maybe it's supposed to be like an Alice in Wonderland thing. I don't think that what was that thing called? But I don't think it was called a basilisk there. But yep, trying to make the Beagle look really terrifying there. It's really funny. It's really cute there. And it looks like we were given some additional cards into it there. Like I said, maybe we're going to get some zombies here. Oh, nope, we're going to get a Spirited Companion, so maybe that's the same one there. Spirited Companion is going to be a 1 and a white for an enchantment creature dog, 1/1, with when this creature enters, you draw a card there. Yeah, just looks like they're running down the hallway there, trying to play a little bit of fetch, giving you a nice little toy to play with them there, because they just want to be your world. They want to be your everything there, and probably is going to be the same here. Yep, it's going to be the same there. So I imagine there'll be something similar with the cats, so we'll be on the lookout for those ones as well. So all in all, very cute set. I think that unlike some of their other, attempts at looking at some of these chaos drops, I think that this one here, the cats versus dogs, I think is probably their best one that they've done. Not only because people like cats and dogs, they had artwork, they had cards that people wanted in them there, and it just seemed like something that people wanted to grab and at a reasonable price there. So going along with that lines there, we're actually going to be coming to the winners of that little competition, which is going to be cats. It can be up to you if you find cats better than dogs or if you find dogs better than cats. Honestly, I love them both. If I wasn't in a situation where I was not going to be able to have a pet there, then I would absolutely be looking to adopt either a cat or a dog. I've thought of a couple of other animals as well there, but definitely cats and dogs are at the top of the list there. There's just something about playing with them, cuddling with them, and just they'll be there for you and wanting you to be there when you come back home from a day of work or something. That is just really nice. So like we had from the beginning there with the dog running away to get away from the bath, we're having a cat running outside to sunbathe a little bit there, or as my father likes to call it, they're solarizing. I will say, while it's a different color cat, something that this reminds me of is the Warrior Cats books, with how the first book is called Into the Wild, or Into the Wilds. It's one of the two there. But I remember reading those growing up. They were some of my favorites there just because I like to hear what the cats were thinking. And, because I liked cats, it made good sense there for me. So cats and flowers, that's me. And we're getting Rip Apart there. Again, nice little pet there that's just trying to be innocent. Like, yeah, I was just trying to find the stuff that I was looking for there. And again, this one has flowers, so I definitely enjoy having the flowers and the artworks there, and trying to be really cute and have you not be mad at them there. It's hard to be mad at them, but you gotta tell them that they can't be doing that. And for the Titanic ultimatum, instead of running to get some food, that yarn ball just rolled across there. That's going to be some prey. We've got to play with it by any means possible, and these two kittens know exactly that is the plan. So here they are, running out, trying to grab that ball of yarn like their lives depend on it there, because that is the only thing that their eyes are on. Because look how massive their eyes are. They are absolutely enthralled. I wouldn't be surprised if they're on some catnip as well, to just be going absolutely bonkers. Next up, we're getting Arcane Signet there. This one here having a little tiara crown for the cat instead there. Yes, they are very precious. However, there is just something about this that doesn't hit me quite the same way as the Arcane Signet for the dog does. I don't know if it's that we don't get to see a lot of the cat's face, or just that, the happy dog is just something that makes you smile in and of itself there. I don't know. This kind of like princess treatment that they're giving to the cat there as well is just something that I also don't really kind of understand there. It's like, yeah, I'd want to take care of my cat there if I had one, but I wouldn't be going to this extent for them there. It's just like they're a companion there, but I'm not going to make them as like the absolute of anything there and spend all my money on them. And next up, probably one of the best arts from the cat's version of this is going to be their version of Basilisk Collar. So instead of dressing up the dog in like a little Halloween outfit, this time you've got a Sphinx hairless cat that is just looking absolutely menacing at you, especially with that collar there. This is one that not to mess with. And again, reminds me very heavily of the Warrior Cats books, because at the end of the first 6 books, when they're fighting off some city cats that are wandering in to claim more territory there, they've got Scourge, who just has a collar on, and he's got a bunch of dog teeth that are shoved through the collar to make him look even more intimidating there. And in this case, instead of a dog tooth, it's just the metal spikes. And oh my God, that you don't want to mess with this cat. This cat is going to bite you. This cat is going to scratch you. it is menacing. Like it says, it's not an accessory, it's a warning. I think it's absolutely perfect. And the last one that we're going to have, instead of a spirited companion, because a cat is not a dog, we're going to have a helpful hunter. Though it is essentially going to do the same thing, it is 2 and a white for a 1/1 cat. Not an enchantment cat this time, so that's the only other difference there. But when this creature enters the battlefield, you're going to draw a card there. Yep, look at him there. He's stolen the little toy that the dog had in their version, and they've gotten the ball of yarn as well. They got the plant. They've got some catnip. You know, they've got everything that they possibly need to make sure that they are the ones that are having a good time there. So overall, you know, I think that the ones that they are putting out for these Chaos Vaults are a little hit or miss there. They had a couple more that had been available prior to this there that, again, I wasn't super fond of. I'm not a big fan of these. These are fine, but again, they're just tokens, so they're not the most impactful there. Having them have the prices of these so high is just not something that seems sustainable there or what people are going to want to do. This is absolutely the best one that they've had so far. But also opening up some of the extra ones that they put through that can be very nice, like the Extra Life ones or the Deadpool April Fool's ones there were nice little additions as well. I really enjoyed it there. So all in all, I think this one was fine. And I only say fine for this one here because it was about like half and half there of what I'm saying of these were great. These had some weird stuff about them there. So, you know, there are good stuff in here that I'm going to be using, and I'm glad to have all of this in for my collection there. But I hope that there is more of a push to have, you know, some of the good cards there, some, you know, maintain this really nifty artwork there, but maybe stray into areas that people are going to have a little bit more comfortability-wise, whether that's with the cards that they're putting their money into the product there, or, you know, having it at a reasonable price. Thank you for joining me on this little Secret Lair review. You know, you'll have seen if the individual cards make up for what the packs were, and, you know, I did some other stuff with those other ones that were maybe a little bit funky there, but I'm going to be looking forward to the next super drop that comes out there, and you know, when that comes out, I'll be sure to make a little recording there for another little review for you to see if it was worth it. So thank you for joining me. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Please have a nice evening or a nice day. Thank you for joining me on these. I always appreciate whenever you drop on by. So until next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you later.